When I turned 60, I thought my story was over, divorced, forgotten, alone. I bought a one-way ticket to the Philippines, planning to disappear. But instead, I found 5 women who gave me love, a culture that gave me purpose, and a country that made me feel alive again. This is the story of how I went from invisible to deeply loved in the most unexpected place on earth. I was 60 years old when I bought a one-way ticket to the Philippines. Not because I was feeling adventurous, not because I was chasing some dream. I did it because I had nothing left to lose. Back in Arizona, life had become a hollow routine. The kind where you drink coffee alone, talk to no one, and forget the last time someone hugged you without a reason. I had been divorced twice, retired early, and alone not just in a room, but in spirit. My house was quiet, too quiet. I used to joke that the loudest thing in my home was the refrigerator. But deep down, it wasn't funny. It was sad. My kids had their own lives. They visited when they could, but there was always somewhere else to be. One night, I typed something into Google, peaceful countries to retire in, and there it was. A name I'd only seen on postcards before, the Philippines. Photos of crystal beaches, green rice fields, and people smiling like they weren't pretending. But what truly pulled me wasn't the scenery. It was the feeling in those photos. The sense of belonging, of peace. I didn't hesitate. I bought the ticket, packed one suitcase, and left behind everything that had stopped feeling like home. When I landed in Cebu, something inside me shifted. The heat hit me first thick and fragrant like a warm blanket soaked in mangoes and sea breeze. Then came the sounds: roosters crowing, tricycles puttering, children laughing like their hearts had wings. But most of all, it was the people. A security guard at the airport smiled at me, not the stiff, corporate smile I was used to back home. No, this one was sincere, like he was happy I existed. A taxi driver, who barely spoke English, handed me cold water without charge and said, "Welcome to our country, sir." Even street vendors, busy frying banana cue or grilling pork, paused just to say, "Magandang umaga," good morning. I had been in this country 5 minutes and already felt more seen than in years back in the States. I found a small apartment in Bohol by the coast. It wasn't fancy, just 2 rooms, a hammock, and a window that opened to the sea. Every morning, I'd watch fishermen cast their nets with rhythm and grace, like they were dancing with the ocean. Kids ran barefoot, chasing kites made of plastic bags and sticks. The local sari-sari store played old OPM music from a rusty radio, way of turning strangers into family. But more than the views, it was the spirit of the place. Filipinos had this. They invited me to meals, not out of obligation, but joy. They called me tate, father. They taught me to eat with my hands, to laugh again, to speak slowly, to live slowly, a voice like soft rain. It was at a humble Carinderia roadside eatery with plastic chairs and a tin roof that I met Maria. She was 37, a single mother, eyes like dusk. She served me rice and chicken adobo with hands that moved with patience and purpose. We didn't talk much at first, but I returned the next day, and the next, and the next. One evening, she sat beside me and asked, "Why do you look so far away?" "Sir," I smiled, unsure what to say. So I told her the truth, that I felt invisible back home, that I came to the Philippines hoping to feel alive again. She didn't laugh. She didn't pity me. She just placed her hand on mine and said, "You're here now. You matter here." That night, I cried. 3 months later, we were married. Not in a grand church, just a backyard. Her brothers grilled bangus. Her nephews played guitar. And her mother kissed my forehead like I was born into her family. That's when I learned what familiar truly meant in the Philippines. It's not just blood. It's shared meals, shared stories, shared silence. Through Maria, I met her cousin, Eileen. She was 40, a nurse, sharp-tongued and soft-hearted. She visited often, helped care for Maria's son, sang while sweeping, cooked sinigang when I got sick. We bonded over late-night talks about regrets, old love songs, and faith. She taught me Tagalog. I taught her how to make pancakes. One night, Maria saw us laughing, and instead of jealousy, she said, "Love doesn't run out, you know. You're allowed to love more than one person if your heart has space." I was stunned. Back in America, that idea would be scandalous. Because in this culture, love is not possession, it's generosity. But here, it was said with peace, with understanding. Months later, I married Eileen too, with Maria's blessing. And again, the family welcomed it with open arms. Then came Joy, wife number 3. We met during the Sinulog festival in Cebu. She was an English teacher guiding Korean tourists. I got lost in the crowd, and she helped me find my way. She had a laugh that echoed, eyes that sparkled when she told jokes. She danced in the rain, sang in the shower. She made me feel 25 again, even when my niece said otherwise. At a wedding, her students sang Bahay Cubo while lanterns floated into the night sky. We didn't need promises, just presence. Laz, wife number 4, was from Davao. She sold hand-woven baskets in the local market. I bought one basket, then another, then every Saturday just to see her smile. She was a widow, mid-40s, quiet but observant. She never rushed a word, never wasted one either. Her hands were calloused, but they held mine like silk. She told me, love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's being beside someone who doesn't ask you to be anything else. Our wedding was held at a small chapel overlooking the hills. She wore a simple dress. Diana was the last, a tour guide from Palawan. I missed my scheduled island trip, and she found me sulking at the port. She brought me mango juice and teased my grumpy face. She was a firecracker, calling me Tanda only in jest, but protecting me like a soldier. She taught me to snorkel, to dance tinicolin, to live recklessly with joy. She said, "You're not old. You're just underlived." People ask me, "Did all your wives live together?" No, they lived nearby. We shared holidays, ate together, traveled together. No jealousy, no bitterness, just understanding. Each brought something different. Maria brought grounding. Eileen brought healing. Joy brought laughter. Luz brought peace. Diana brought wildness. Together, they brought me back to life. But more than love, it was the culture that transformed me. The Filipino soul is kind. They value respect for elders, for strangers, even for the land. They say po and opo to show humility. They touch the hands of their elders and say mono po to ask for blessings. They open their homes with kenteo, let us eat even if they barely have enough. It's a country where people share umbrellas with strangers, where they offer their last piece of fish to a guest, where even the poorest will offer you coffee, rice, and a smile. There's a word they use often, malasakit. It means deep concern for others, a kind of empathy that moves people to act. And that's what the Philippines gave me, malasakit. I joined barangay fiestas, learned to cook laing, danced in ati-atehan, and sang horribly in karaoke contests. And somehow, I always felt welcome, like I belonged. I visited churches made of coral stone, swam in turquoise lagoons, lit candles for my late parents in quiet cathedrals. I learned that family isn't who you're born to. It's who stays when you're sick, who listens when you're silent, who feeds you when you don't ask. A year ago, I had a minor stroke. I was scared, weak, unsure if my time had come. But they came, all of them. Maria with her calming voice, Eileen holding my hand through the night, Joy cracking jokes to hide her tears, Luz reading psalms softly by my bed, Diana brushing my hair, calling me matapang brave. In that moment, I realized I wasn't afraid of dying. I was just so grateful to have finally known what it meant to live. Now, every morning, I sit on the same bench by the sea. Fishermen still cast nets. Children still chase kites. But inside me, there's peace. A peace I never knew in Arizona. A peace built not from things, but from people. From love. From culture. And I ask myself, what if I never left? What if I stayed in that cold house, listening to the fridge, waiting for calls that never came? I would have never known what 5 women could teach me about joy, what a nation could teach me about grace, what my own heart was still capable of. So if you're watching this thinking life has passed you by, don't give up. Sometimes all it takes is a single decision, a suitcase, a leap of faith, and a place where strangers call you family. This was mine. The Philippines taught my home, taught my heart, my beginning.